This RC Beginner Series is brought to you by Horizon Hobby. Hey, welcome to Flight Test. I'm Josh, and this is Josh.
Hi.
And this is episode 7 of our Beginner Series, and today we're talking about batteries.
Yes, batteries are crazy important, and as we talked about at the end of episode 6, we're going to go into great detail on that, so it deserves a whole episode unto itself.
Yeah, now we're not talking about double A's.
No, or NiCads or anything like that. We're talking about LiPos.
LiPos.
Because LiPos are predominantly the most common battery you're going to find out there in the RC industry today.
Right.
So we're going to talk about main things like the number of cells. We're going to talk about the capacity.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the amperage it can provide, or the C rating.
Discharging.
And charging, of course. If you discharge something, you're going to need to charge it.
And battery safety.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about cells.
Cells. Okay.
All right.
What are cells?
Well, in LiPo batteries, you have cells that make up your battery. Each cell has a nominal voltage power of 3.7 volts.
Okay.
Now, fully charged, that'll produce 4.2.
Okay.
So what happens if you have a 3-cell battery? What kind of voltage do you think we get out of there?
Well, 3 times 3.7 is math.
11.1
11.1
volts.
11.1, I think.
Yep. Now that battery fully charged is going to give you a top voltage of 12.6.
Okay.
Okay, but now's a good point to come in there. I say top charge. There's a bottom end, and it's not like the old NiCads or the old batteries of the past, where it was like a gas tank, and when you ran out of gas, it just meant your batteries, empty. And
oh no.
If there's a bottom floor that's a little bit higher than the bottom floor.
We're thinking flames, bursting into flames.
Bad things happen after 3 volts. There's a no-go back after 3 volts. If you discharge this battery, so each cell is less than 3 volts.
So not the whole battery down to 3 volts. We're talking it's got to have 3 volts per cell.
Yep, and anytime you're talking about LiPo batteries, we're always looking at each individual cell within that battery.
Okay.
You balance them, you charge them together. They give you a combined voltage, but each one is its own entity that you got to take care of and respect and honor.
When you say balance, that means you make sure that the cells are all even.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So when you're flying an airplane and you actually get low and you're considering this as a dead battery, 3 volts is a no-go back, but 3.3 is where that plane better be on the ground.
Okay.
So don't go below 3.3 volts or 9.9 volts on there. And now there's great ways. There's low voltage cutouts that your ESC will bring it down to a lower power state. Never start flying a plane or keep flying a plane if you notice that you have to go full throttle just to main altitude.
Okay.
That's your ESC saying, hey,
that's
look.
a good indication that it's time to come down.
And truthfully, if you're getting that time where you've used up all that voltage and you're going there, you're probably getting close to puffing your battery anyway. So it's good to set your time limits, okay, like 10 minutes. And even if the battery can produce 15 minutes of flight, 10 minutes is a good time to shoot for.
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly. So our next is the milliamp hour, or MAH. Yeah, milliamp hour is like the size of your gas tank. So in this case, milliamp hour is the capacity of your battery. The higher the number, the more capacity, the more ability to fly your plane longer.
Okay.
In this case, we have 3,200 milliamp hours.
So that's like 3,200 hours of flying.
Exactly.
Cool.
No, not 3,200 hours.
Like a couple weeks.
If you're drawing 3.2 amps, you can fly for 1 hour on this battery.
Oh.
Now, that's not very common in this world.
No.
A plane that's flying off of this will probably give you about 5 minutes of flight time because it's probably drawing something around 30 to 40 amps.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so you always got to respect the fact that the motor is going to be drawing what it needs.
Okay.
And the battery's going to have to be able to deliver that.
Right.
Okay. So the capacity is your milliamp hour. Your voltage is going to be depicted by the number of cells.
Right.
The next thing is your C rating. What do you think C rating is?
What does C stand for?
I don't think anyone really knows.
It's a mystery.
What C rating is, it's the amount of amps that can be supplied by the battery without getting too stressed or overworked.
Okay.
Okay, now oftentimes you'll even see 2 different C ratings. You'll see a constant C rating and you'll see a burst C rating. Now keep in mind, the burst C rating is where it's providing that ampage for less than 10 seconds.
For like a launch.
For like a launch, or like you're in trouble and you got to just power it out of there.
Right.
You don't ever want to fly and require that burst amperage draw
for the whole time,
or you're going to be doing some damage.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Now, the way you find your C rating or the amperage that can be drawn, sometimes it's like these batteries where it's physically spelled out. 30C or 96 amps.
Okay.
If you did the math here, you're going to get 96 amps. But let's go ahead and just talk about how you can look at a battery, see the C rating, and get it.
Right.
And let's just play with nice round numbers. Okay. C rating requires off the information based off the capacity of the battery, but in amp hours, not milliamp hours, because milliamp hours is 1,000th of an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
So in this case, if you had a 1,000 milliamp battery, that's 1 amp hour battery. So say you have a 10C rating on that 1 amp hour battery. You take 10 times 1, what do you get?
It's 10. 10
amps. So that battery can continuously supply you with 10 amps until the point that all the capacity is depleted. Or if it had a 15C burst rate for 10 seconds, that gives you
15.
50. See, he knows math. This is good. This is why math is so important in school. Okay?
But if math is not your friend, like math is not my friend,
there's calculators.
Yeah, we have some links below that'll help you out.
And the calculators are priceless. You can go through there, and you can go, just like we're talking on the power setups, you can go through the whole process. Those calculators for the battery, giving you your safe amperage draws, are going to be there as well.
Okay.
So we've talked about cells, we've talked about capacities, now we talked about amperage. Well, let's talk about discharging.
Why would you want to discharge your battery?
Well, do you like flying planes?
Yeah.
That's discharging your battery.
Oh, I get it.
You get it? You like that?
Yeah, right.
Because your motor requires amperage and volts to come to it.
Yeah, so when you're flying it, you're discharging it.
You got it, brother.
I see.
So, and discharging is why we put so much care into understanding how many volts we have, the amperage required, how much we're going to dissipate it, how long to fly. Now, if you over-discharge a LiPo battery, what do you think happens? Bad things.
Flames and
As we talked earlier, the bottom of the floor for a LiPo battery is not 0 volts.
Right.
It's 3 volts, and that's when bad things are definitely happen per cell.
Right.
It's not. So basically, you have a 3-cell battery, which when you drop below 9 volts, that's no going back, friends.
Okay.
Safely 3.3 or above, and I wouldn't even play with that 3.3.
No.
I like keeping it above there. Actually, I'm really bad with batteries.
Well, how would I even know?
How would you even know?
Yeah.
There's a very simple way. You can have little alarms that you plug into the balance connector here.
Yeah.
That will go off when you start getting dangerously low.
Okay.
You can also just fly for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, land, check your voltage with a battery checker. Yeah, there's lots of different types of battery meters or battery checkers.
Okay.
Some will even give you a little gas tank along with the voltage.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. A lot of them will also show the individual voltage of each battery cell and then a combined voltage, which is really useful. That way, if you see, okay, this one is 4, this one is 4, but this one is 3.7, you know that they're not only mismatched, but this one is getting ready to drop below.
Right, yeah.
Now, the more you abuse your battery, the less capacity you can put back into your battery. There's a really good way to tell how much capacity you're putting back in your battery. A lot of battery chargers will actually show you how many milliamp hours they put back into your the battery.
Okay.
So say you fly for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. You put it down, you put it on this charger, and it's a 1,000 milliamp battery, and it puts 800 back in. Guess what? You knew that you use 80%. Now you can say, okay, this is how I was flying, and I actually use
10 minutes equals 80%.
Exactly.
In this instance.
And in this case, you don't want to ever go over 80% of your threshold. If you want your batteries and your equipment to always work and stay reliable, use the 80% rule. That means never draw more than 80% of your stated capacity from your battery, from your speed control, from your motor. Just keep it conservative. Just fly for a few minutes, land, see where your voltage is at. That'll give you a good idea of flight times. Once you know that flight time,
get to know your battery.
Get to know your battery and your airplane. Once you have those flight times recorded, set the timer on your radio if it has that ability, or just simply get a little digital timer that sticks on the back of your radio. You can hit start
or a watch,
or a watch that goes off, and that way you'll never hurt your batteries.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
So we depleted our battery,
and now it's time to charge it.
Yes.
Now it's time to deplete it.
Now, deplete it. I like that. Can you charge a LiPo battery with a nickel metal hydride charger?
Is this more math?
No.
No.
The answer is no, unless you like bonfires in your home or in your garage.
That sounds fun.
Or around friends. These batteries catch on fire, and when they catch on fire, they like to stay lit pretty well.
Nice.
Speaking of which, you can also catch a battery on fire if you let it go too low on your voltage. That's when it starts getting all this crazy energy, it starts building heat, and that heat can't be stopped until flames burst out the side of it.
Oh, wow.
So if this scares you, good. It should scare you. Never charge your battery irresponsible, never over deplete it, never put it around oily rags. But we'll have a safety disclaimer at the end of this.
Okay.
Okay? So, when you're charging your battery, you never want to charge your LiPo battery with a nickel metal hydride or a LiPo or any of these other chargers. You always want to make sure you have a LiPo charger with a LiPo battery. Now, different chargers can charge multiple types of battery, but you always want to make sure you select the proper battery to be charged.
Okay.
Okay, that goes backwards with nickel metal hydride. You want to charge it in nickel metal hydride mode.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
Okay. Always, you don't want to overcharge or charge too quickly. Just because this can deliver 10 Cs of...
but I want to get back up into the air.
I know you want to get back up in the air. So let's just use examples, okay?
Okay.
We've got a 1300 milliamp 3-cell. Okay.
Yeah.
First thing we want to do is we're going to want to make sure we're charging on LiPo. The second thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make sure that we're charging for a 3-cell setting.
Okay.
Okay. The third thing we want to do is we want to charge safely at 1 C. Now we're talking about how to calculate C's. This is a 1300 milliamp battery.
Yes.
What is 1 C of 1300 milliamp?
1.3.
1.3. There we go. 1.3. So this battery will charge in roughly 1 hour at 1.3 amps.
Okay.
So it's putting 1.3 amps back in there.
Right.
Okay. Now this battery could say can charge at 5C rating. That means you do a 5C calculation, but I wouldn't recommend doing that too often because the more aggressive and the more you abuse your batteries, the less capacity they hold. Less capacity means shorter flight times, less performance. You get the picture, right?
Be kind to your batteries.
Be good to your batteries.
And they'll be good to you.
Now, you probably noticed this extra little plug here, huh?
Yeah, what is that?
You were talking about individual cells earlier, weren't you?
Uh-huh.
This is what's going to be providing your voltage to your plane.
Okay.
This is your balance connector.
Oh.
If you see on your balance connector, if you have a 3-cell battery, you're going to have 4 wires. The first one being your ground there, that's black. And don't take my word for this, you can look at the pinouts and everything, but first one being your ground, and then if you look here, each one of these is an individual cell.
Okay.
Okay? When you plug your battery checker in here, or oftentimes a lot of battery chargers, it's going to look at each individual cell and monitor the individual cells of your battery. So if it sees one getting close to 4.2, it's going to back off of that one a little bit and get the other ones back up.
Okay.
You always want to be flying on balanced packs. If you have a cell that's overcharged, guess what? When all of them come up, it'll push it past that limit of 4.2. But if one cell's undercharged and it drops down, you're going to be dropping below 3.3. And just like with different size batteries, you got different types of chargers too. Now, more economical, slow chargers, you'll just plug the balance connector right into the actual charger.
Okay.
It's going to charge at a very slow, predictable rate.
All right.
Oftentimes take at least an hour to charge.
Okay.
But it's going to be safe. It's going to be going through here. It's going to be monitoring all the different cells.
So it makes it even?
Yes.
Okay.
Then you're going to go to your next step, where it's just going to be bouncing off or charging off of this.
Okay.
Okay. It's going to be putting more amps into it, or more capacity, but it's not going to be looking at individual cells.
Right.
So with that kind of charge, you have more chance of damaging your battery. Got to be careful about those. Okay.
So you got to monitor it.
You got to monitor it, and I always recommend finding a battery charger that uses both. It puts your main voltage through here, but then it ultimately checks it as it's putting the voltage through here. It's checking it real time to make sure all the cells are doing what it's properly supposed to. Okay.
Cool.
So it's balancing as it's charging.
Nice.
Okay. 3 different charger types.
Okay.
Now we're talking about safety.
Yes.
Safety starts with charging.
That's right.
Because if you charge next to oily rags, nothing good happens. Yeah, that's bad stuff. Because if you have an explosion or you have your battery catch on fire, you don't want your battery anywhere close to something that's going to catch on fire.
That's right.
AKA your car motor.
Wow.
I know, that's kind of deep because we plug into our car batteries all the time.
Yeah.
But you know what that means? You babysit it.
Okay.
You sit next to it, and that way something bad happens, you have time to react.
So there are safety precautions.
There are a lot of safety precautions. One of the first ones is that if you have a dented, or say
if it's puffy or
puffy, abnormal looking, if it doesn't look like a stock pretty battery, say you crash and there's a big old dent in there, you see some foil.
You know what? This is pretty important.
Yeah.
We should probably let's be official. Let's be official about this.
All right. We have an official write-up from, I believe it's AMA, isn't it?
Is it?
And we're going to read it to you right now.
Battery safety. Do not use a battery if it's deformed from a crash.
Ooh,
store and charge in a fireproof container, never in your model. Charge in a protected area devoid of combustibles.
Oily rags. Sorry.
Can I continue?
You can continue.
Never leave the charging process unattended. In the event of damage from crashes, etc., carefully remove to a safe place for at least a half hour to observe. Physically damaged cells could erupt into flame, and after sufficient time to ensure safety, should be discarded in accordance with the instructions which came with the batteries.
Sand.
Sand what?
Yeah, actually a saltwater solution is perfect for destroying and finalizing your batteries so they will never blow up.
Never attempt to charge a cell with physical damage, regardless of how slight. Always use chargers designed for the specific purpose, preferably having a fixed setting for your particular pack. Many fires occur in using selectable/adjustable.
Many fires indeed.
Never attempt to charge lithium cells with a charger which is not specifically designed for charging lithium cells. Never use chargers designed for nickel cadmium.
Nickel cadmium. Kathmandu.
Never use chargers designed for nickel Kathmandu batteries. Use charging systems that monitor and control the charge state of each cell in the pack. Unbalanced cells can lead to disaster if it permits overcharge of a single cell in the pack. If the batteries show any sign of swelling, discontinue charging and remove them to a safe place outside, as they could erupt into flames.
Not next to your neighbor's house.
Most important, this is in capital letters. I'm going to shout.
Yeah.
Never plug in a battery and leave it to charge unattended overnight. Serious fires have resulted from this practice. Do not attempt to make your own battery packs from individual cells. Ooh, MacGyver.
Yeah, don't get all MacGyver on it.
So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you know what? All of it valuable. We've covered a lot of it, but please, guys, don't tempt this, especially the part with leaving batteries unattended in your home.
All right.
All right. So there's other things also to think about with batteries, and we haven't even touched it. Every battery has a unique connector. Different manufacturers use different connectors.
Right.
Now, this is Horizon's main form of connector. It's called an EC3.
Right.
But other people may use connectors such as Dean's connectors, XT60s, JSTs. all sorts of weird ones. You can't plug an EC3 into an XT60 or a JST.
So you got to look at your plane and see what it requires.
You got to look at your plane and see what it requires. And if some people have favorite connectors, you can always change those over and put your favorite connector or an adapter as well too.
Okay.
Always check the manufacturer's recommendations for your battery. Oftentimes manufacturers use the battery to balance out your plane. So it's not just as simple as, hey, I want to fly twice as long, I'm going to put a 2200 in it. You may get a really poor flying plane because it's terribly nose heavy or tail heavy, depending on where your battery is.
But if you don't have the manufacturer recommendations, you can check online.
A lot of amazing forums out there that'll give you also their reviews on people's batteries, the qualities of it. But also, people may say, hey, you know what, this plane flies amazing on a 3,000 milliamp battery. It balances even better, and I'm getting longer flight time. So check the forums. Flight Test has a great forum too. Just internet search it, find out what other people have learned, and apply it.
So what about going big, like bigger battery? What does that do for you?
Bigger battery gives you longer flight times, but it also requires more weight to be lifted. More weight requires more throttle. More throttle takes away your efficiency.
Oh, so there's a little bit to think about.
So sometimes flying a bigger battery may not give you any better flight performance at all.
Okay. All right, well, let's sum it up.
Recap time.
Okay. Batteries are made up of cells.
Cells, especially LiPo. This is all about LiPo. Each cell carries a nominal value of 3.7, so on a 3-cell battery, the nominal value would be
11.1.
11.1. Now, fully charged, each cell will produce 4.2 volts.
Right.
Or carry 4.2 volts in it. So a 3-cell battery will then be fully charged at
12.6.
He's good at math. A fully discharged battery, is it 0?
No.
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 No, it is not. Never drop below 3.3 volts per cell. Or combined on a 3-cell battery, which is most common on trainers.
Right.
9.9.
Okay.
And check your batteries often. Don't just take it up and fly until things cut out. Land after a few minutes of flying, see what your capacity is, get your flight times, because everyone flies different.
Yes.
Okay, and then set a timer to not over discharge your batteries.
Okay. We talked about capacity.
Yes.
And capacity is?
Capacity is, the larger it's the milliamp hours. The larger the capacity in milliamp hours, the longer you get to fly. Also, the bigger your battery is going to be.
Okay.
We talked about C rating.
C rating.
That's the amount of amperage that can constantly be delivered without damaging your battery. There's also a burst rating that's no more than 10 seconds. It'll oftentimes be a little bit higher.
But you don't want to fly at that burst rating the whole time.
Bad things happen then.
Speed racer.
Yes. Discharging.
Discharging. That is the act of flying your plane. You're discharging your battery.
And it's the
most fun way to discharge your battery.
Exactly. But if you over discharge, you not only damage your battery, but you risk catching things on fire.
Yeah.
Thing they know with LiPo batteries, if you do anything to abuse it, whether you're flying, charging, hooking it up, it sometimes results in fire. So safety is very crucial. Never charge your battery.
Unless you like fire.
He likes fire a lot. If you have a LiPo battery, charge it on LiPo mode or a LiPo charger. You can charge through your balance connector, you can charge through your main port that goes to the airplane, or both of them, which is actually the best way to do it because it's putting the voltage back into your battery, but monitoring constantly.
Right. And we talked about safety.
A lot about safety. Basically, if you mess with it, it'll catch on fire. Don't charge it inside a house, don't charge it next to baby cradles, don't charge it next to oily rags. I'm trying to drive home the point here.
I understand.
If the battery's damaged, don't use it.
Charge it in a bomb shelter. Is that what we're saying?
No. Keep it safe, keep it away, and babysit your batteries while they're being charged. Don't neglect this part. Always keep a fire extinguisher, but sand is the best thing to put out a LiPo fire. You cannot blow it out. You cannot sit it out.
Water?
No water.
Oh.
Yep, you got to smother it.
Sand.
It's self-oxidizing. It likes to burn when the air hits it.
Okay.
Once it opens up.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, we want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks Horizon Hobby for sponsoring this episode. And if you missed any of our earlier beginner episodes, make sure you go back and check them out because there's lots of helpful information. And there's lots of helpful links below all these videos as well.
Yes, and also go to our podcast. Often in our podcast we talk about technical data. Like in episode 3 we talked about how brushless motors work. We're going to talk about different technical aspects as we go through different podcasts. Search it out. There's one for you.
All right, well, stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.